Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Defense of the Patients. I'm your host Cyphus, and we're doing another DotP one-on-one today, and my guest is, and I when I say this, I mean this genuinely, just so you know, one of my favorite content creators in Dota 2.
Wow.
Brian Calland.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, seriously, like I would say the hardest part of any kind of content creation, or one of the hardest forms of content creation, is comedy, and you do that exceptionally well.
Thanks. I think if I tried to do any other thing, it would fail. So it's like all I know.
So, are you a fan? I mean, do you consider yourself a fan of comedy?
Yeah, I actually, when I kind of what am I looking for? Consume comedy. I more like learn from it more than laugh at it. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Oh, sure. Like analyzing
at all.
Like the technique, or the, I mean, like the formula of a joke.
Right. Instead of going, ha, 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 I go, that was good.
Yeah.
that was good.
What are some of your favorite comedies?
Oh, lots of things that involve improv I am a fan of, because I am of the opinion that delivery can literally make anything funny at all. Sometimes joke structure doesn't even matter if you just say it in a funny way or just in a believable way, I think. So the Christopher Guest mockumentaries, I don't know if you know those.
I'm familiar with them, but I've never seen one.
Yeah, I'm a fan of those. The actors are just so good at delivering, and it's perfect. It's a weird type of comedy, but it's kind of my thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of the golden era of mockumentaries lately. It feels like. I mean, obviously you have things like Spinal Tap and mockumentaries from the days of yore, if you will. Mm-hmm. But I mean, even just like most recently, what was the vampire? What We Do in the Shadows? I don't know if you.
I have not seen it.
That's.
I heard that it was good.
It's an on point mockumentary for sure.
Nice.
So I mean, do you ever see yourself working or creating any kind of content that's not comedic in nature?
Maybe if the right situation comes about and I'm off somewhere, like able to do whatever I want, just directing something, I don't know. But for now, it's just sort of, my vessel is a cartoon, and that just kind of fits.
Do you are you a fan of like of animation as well? I mean, because I think when we had you on, maybe it was the first time, you mentioned that you just kind of like, was it happenstance got into like Flash animation?
Yeah, it was sort of just, I happened upon that, but it happened so long ago, so I've just been doing it for so long. But I was a fan of old Newgrounds Flash animations as well. I still catch a few like children's cartoons just to kind of study those too, because a lot of the times their jokes, I feel like they're even better than some of the adult animated cartoons, just because they have less of a crutch as far as I don't know, I'll say profanity as a quote unquote crutch.
Oh sure.
I just feel like maybe it's harder, I think, to be funny in a cleaner way, but I don't know.
Oh definitely. I mean you look
at
like some of the old
I'm playing. Yeah,
like the old Rugrats cartoons. I don't know if you ever watched any of those, but I mean, It was delivering that adult humor. I mean, because I've gone back and actually seen a couple of cartoons here and there with younger kids in the family and whatnot. And there are some jokes that land exceptionally well for a kid's show. I mean, it's quality. It's a quality form of comedy, and still generalized enough that every audience can kind of take it in.
Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with Phineas and Ferb, but if you aren't, that's a perfect example of a children's cartoon that is just like spot on, and it strikes me, it just hits my funny bone. There's so much fourth wall breaking and self-awareness that I'm just like, ooh, this is my thing. Yep.
Well, and I don't know, so much of animation is also so I mean, when you're watching live action comedy, body language helps sell a joke, as much as tone does. And as an animator, and especially for, I mean, you're not just animating it, but you're writing the sketches. You're doing most of the voice acting by yourself or on your own. Having to also cover that body language and make sure that the movement, that motion on screen sells the joke as well. That's got to be painful, right?
Well, I don't even know if I do a good job of it, honestly. I mean, maybe I know as far as the animation part. I mean, I feel like I usually enjoy the delivery I come up with and the script, and I don't know. I think usually I'm okay with it, and then the animation, I don't know. I've been trying to get better, but yeah, taking all that into account is important.
Yeah, absolutely. I also have to say, God damn you! I recently, so I went back because I hadn't caught up fully on the last season of Dota 2 Reporter. So I went back and watched that.
Oops.
Well, I mean, you were coming on, so I was like, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch that. But the moments where you throw up the little like just the brief flash of a bit of text in a scene, the little subtle, almost what's the word I'm looking for?
Subliminal?
Yeah, the subliminal jokes. Anytime I see one pop up, I have to hit pause. Like I have to see it. I can't. I feel like I can't move on until I know what that joke was, and it's
Sometimes
really
it's like, ha, you paused it.
Oh yeah, and it's painful to, especially on a phone. If I'm watching it on a phone, that's the worst because I can't. Sometimes you just can't quite stop where you want to catch those jokes.
I think I'm sorry then. Oops.
But
sounds awful.
They're always worth it though. They're worth the work. You make me work for my humor, for my laugh.
Good.
I appreciate
that's what we all want out of entertainment.
Yeah,
we want to work hard. Just kidding.
So, you recently had a big kind of content shift, or not really. Well, some content shift. You're still doing.
It's been an interesting few months.
Yeah. You've been doing the animated shorts still, but you started up a separate YouTube channel. And why don't you tell folks what you're doing with that?
Oh, so yeah, on that channel, I've decided to go extremely YouTube-y and play video games and record myself talking while playing them.
Nice.
And the key here, I don't know, is you can record yourself playing a video game and then you're done, and then you have like 20 minutes of content. Boom! It's magic. I don't know how. This is how 2016 works, something like that. I don't know.
I mean, do you don't watch those types of videos? I take it.
I have. I don't really that often. Like I watched a good amount of Game Grumps maybe last year, like a specific game playthrough maybe I paid attention to, and then after that I was like, okay.
I think it's brilliant that you're doing it because it's become its own it's become its own medium, putting up the videos and streaming on Twitch and whatnot. And it feels like it's time for it to have a little bit of satire. It feels like it's ripe for that type of a new realm of comedic content.
Right. Well, yeah. Some of it's not even. Some of it's just plain old Let's Play. But I definitely want to make fun of it more too. I did a lot at the beginning.
So what are you currently working on? Like what are you developing?
As far as cartoons, I'm mainly going with at the moment what I want to do. I'm going to make that. So as opposed to like being in a season of the Dota 2 Reporter where it's like, okay, what am I going to do next? The next episode, that's what I have to do. So I better get on that. So instead, I'm just kind of being like, what do I have a good idea for? What am I passionate about right now? Like this all fits together. Okay, I'm going to focus on that. And right now, it's going to be another Dota 2 Reporter cartoon short, like about one hero. And then I think I'm going to go with something completely different and do something relating to Hearthstone.
Oh,
after
nice.
that, that's like the next month kind of thing. So I'm just going to keep bouncing back and forth because if there's anything I've learned about doing however many seasons of the same thing over and over, it's like, okay, I need to vary a bit or just burn out. That's just how it works.
Yeah,
it's being a person.
Is some of that content shift, for instance, I think you kind of alluded to this with talking about creating just 20 minutes of content for 20 minutes of gameplay. Is some of that kind of in response to the new way that YouTube has kind of structured stuff as far as like payments and
yeah.
Because it seems like it's weird that they took that shift because it's almost like a potential death knell to someone in your position who's generating cartoons and obviously it takes a ton of time to animate. I mean, I think you told us at one point that it took at least 2 weeks, or that you were trying to give yourself 2 weeks in between.
Right.
So 2 weeks worth of time for 3 minutes worth of content. When you start basing it off of that minute watched, that seems pretty painful.
Yeah, I mean, all of what you said was true. I actually wanted to make note that I can't say like this is how much I earned for blah blah blah, but I can say that the ratio for like I don't know if you're aware of the recent Broodmother skit.
Yeah, I watched that.
Okay, so it has something like 230,000 views as of this recording or something like that. And it's like, wow, I mean that's
huge.
I'm not happy with that. That's 230,000. Like that's a big number. But if you took the earnings of the video as of right now and say the hours that I put in, like probably I'd say 2 weeks of generally work hours, maybe not all the time on only that, but a good chunk of time, right?
Yeah.
There were more hours put in than dollars made. Like it is a ratio of under $1 an hour, I think, if I did that math right.
Yeah.
Like it's terrible. So I pushed Patreon a little bit.
Well, yeah, and it is nice.
Again.
Yeah, and it's nice to have those kinds of options, because that I don't know, it kind of boggles my mind that YouTube decided to go that direction, because if I go to Wronchi's channel and I watch every cartoon there, and I'm exposed to an ad on every cartoon, aren't they more advantaged to having channels like yours where I can burn through a season of Dota 2 Reporter? You know what I mean? And see 20 ads as opposed to see one ad,
I'm not, so I won't say I'm an expert, because I don't know 100% of how it works, but all I know is that I can look at my data that I personally have and just see what's different. And it's the videos that are longer earn more per view. That's just all. I can literally see that. So yeah. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, but that's because of the arrangement that you have with YouTube, not because of how YouTube makes its money. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like clear. YouTube. Surely YouTube is only making money per ad that's viewed, right? I don't see any other way. I don't see any other I don't. In fact, I see them in all reality. If you see one ad and spend 3 minutes using up bandwidth to watch a video, and then you see one ad and spend 25 minutes watching a video, it seems like they stand to lose money on the 25-minute video. I don't know. I'm spitballing.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know exactly either. The only thing I can guess, and I'm making this up.
Hey, fair enough. I'm making this up. I'm on the same boat.
Is that if there's a video that has long watch time, like on average or something, maybe the ads that are sold for it are better or something. I don't know. Like, oh, this video is usually watched a long time. Better ad. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just throwing it in there.
Oh, sure.
I don't know.
But,
YouTube's a weird animal nowadays.
But I mean, you at the time, and it's been, I want to say 3 or 4 months, maybe longer time. I'm living in a time bubble, I feel like. But you posted up the video where you talked about how you needed to shift direction because it was kind of, you felt like you were burning out on the Dota 2 Reporter.
Yeah, more or less the end of season 5 update thing.
Yeah,
that was November, I believe.
Okay, so yeah, about a little over 4 months. Do you feel like things have gotten better since you've made this shift? Do you feel better? Because you at the time mentioned you were suffering from depression. Do you feel like that change in pace helped with all of that in life?
For sure. I definitely addressed my problems in other ways as well, besides just changing what I'm doing in my life. Like, for instance, I recently joined a co-working office space. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
No.
So I'm more or less renting a desk somewhere, so I can kind of go somewhere. I can go to work now.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's you have no idea. That's great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Part of the biggest problem I had was that I was like, okay, time to work, and I'm at work. Okay, I'm done animating or whatever for the day. Time to do whatever else. Play Dota. Okay. Oh, still in the same spot. Okay.
Yeah.
Time to go to bed. And I'm still here. Okay. So that was bad, obviously. So that's something I've done.
Yeah, just a change of scenery is absolutely necessary. When we first started podcasting forever ago, we started in Roland's house, my co-host, and it took us 2 weeks to get a first episode recorded. I mean, we batted the idea around. It wasn't until we made the decision, and it was kind of just happenstance, and it was a beautiful mistake in a weird way. We were like, well, let's get less sound, or let's get less disturbance in sound, and let's go out to that old studio and actually just set all the equipment up there. Why not? We've got this empty space. Let's use it. And just having that little transition from somebody's house out to this separate space where when we're here, it means that we're working. It made a huge difference. It in a weird way was motivating.
Yes. I completely just agree with everything you said. It's just and it's in a pretty productive environment too. It's just people doing their thing, and I don't know, maybe there's going to be for me like a freelance animation opportunity. I don't know, there's more people know me around now because I'm just not here. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and great for networking. Yeah, I mean, who knows when some guy who's renting a desk there needs some new, animated clip, or he would like an animated clip for his website that's being popped up right now, and or the new business that he's trying to get started. Yeah, absolutely. And I can only imagine being around other productive people just makes you feel all the more productive yourself.
No, for sure. It's been really fun to do so far. I've been there maybe less than a month, so I mean, I've been working on the most recent cartoon I pretty much made there. So that's been
the shopkeeper.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is a great cartoon. if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out at youtube.com/this is Wronchi, right?
Wronchi Animation.
Oh, Wronchi Animation. Sorry.
It's changed too much. It's my fault.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. I should know that. As the host, I should have looked that up first and confirmed. But yeah, that's a hilarious clip as well. The Broodmother one was really good. That one I thoroughly enjoyed. And I thought you finished off season 5. And in fact, the in that post, the little clip you made to basically just wrap everything up. I thought that was handled exceptionally well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of weird, right, to come back, and I realized there was a huge lapse of time between the last one that we had seen and the new one, and in that span of time we had 686 drop, which completely changed the game, and in a weird way impacts your ability to kind of create a sketch and create a joke, right?
Yeah, it definitely does. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm obligated to say something like, "Oh, the patch," or not. I don't know. But yeah, about the time in between, I want to say that the last episode before that one was October, because November is when I gave the update. It's like, this is going to change. And I took a few months to just sort of figure things out, and just the holidays as well. So that wasn't exactly the most productive time, and just kind of figured out what I was going to do. I did end up visiting the doctor about depression, because I ended up learning about what depression actually was, as opposed to maybe a widely thought thing where it's like, oh, I'm sad. It's more like just nothing. It's like you get nothing out of anything. You don't feel good about, or bad. It's just you feel gray. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I guess a little background for me. I studied psychology in college, and did some academic research regarding stigmatism surrounding depression.
Okay, well then, there you go.
I mean, it's fascinating. I definitely want to applaud you for being open about it, because I think it's important that people recognize, that it's not just you feeling bad. There's a biochemistry to it, and there are ways to not feel that way. and I don't know. It's fascinating how many people view depression as. So we did misconceptions, right? We put on one end of the spectrum somebody who's or depression. People who suffer from depression are just lazy, and then on the other end, people who suffer from depression are suffering a chemical imbalance. And it's surprising how many people leaned towards the people who suffer from depression are lazy concept. And I think it's good that I love that you were just straightforward about it in the video. I think it's good to draw attention to it, and not draw attention to it in a like, hey, look at me, but in a
right.
In a like, hey, I suffer from depression. That's a disease. The same way you'd go get a cold treated, you should get your depression treated.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I had to face it as much as I had to say it. I don't know if that makes sense. I was like, yeah, this is a true fact right now that I have to address. Like, it is happening currently. And so I took some time, but I think I'm in a better place now. And as I hope that as far as the cartoons, which I would really love to keep doing, like I want to keep pushing that for full time, but I'm not going to be afraid to go, hey, I need to just work on this freelance opportunity, and maybe there won't be a cartoon this month or something. That's going to be fine. I'm just going to keep my eyes open.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
Kind of take what I can get.
Do you do you feel like having that kind of a background or suffering from depression at all impacted your comedy in a negative way? Or because I mean, you always hear about comedians, right? Comedians, you always find out that they suffer from depression. They have like a trying upbringing. Look at Robin Williams, maybe as one of the best examples of somebody who was completely and utterly hilarious, but suffered from depression. Do you feel like it's a double-sided or a double-bladed sword? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I'm honestly not sure if it affected my comedy at all. It's hard to say because I don't know. I look back and I'm hard on myself as far as like the comedy and stuff and the animation and all that, the quality of the content or whatever anyway. So I'm not exactly the best judge of how funny it was, I guess. If that was your question, I'm not sure.
No, I mean, yes and no. I don't even know that I know what my question.
I said some sentences. Now you try.
Yeah. I just mean, do you feel funnier now? Do you feel like you're producing funnier content now than you were before?
Maybe, but I wouldn't say that it was due to depression. Maybe if that makes sense. I would say it's more just I don't want to badmouth my own few years of work.
No.
But I just want to say it is freeing to not have to do something next, like, and only be locked in with this certain thing. I don't know.
Well, just being locked into that concept that
right.
You in a weird way forced your own limitations on yourself, and now you've got to write within those parameters for at least say 20 cartoons. I can imagine that would at least be trying at times.
Yeah, like for like I said earlier, like this month, I feel like doing this Dota cartoon and this other cartoon. Like I'm gonna do that, and then from there we'll just see what's next.
So
they turn out good.
Of your current work, what are you enjoying working on the most? I mean, do you still prefer to do the cartoons, or have making the gaming videos kind of been a relief?
The gaming videos, I mean, they're definitely not my focus. Like they're there. It's a good excuse, honestly, to play some things that I haven't played. Like I've enjoyed that part of it, and some people are getting some enjoyment out of it for sure, and not obviously a ton, but it's just something on the side, really. So if I can focus on cartoons, that's what I would focus on. Which I mean, obviously, I'm focusing on it, but it's still up in the air as far as can I really continue to do this without doing some other kind of work or something. That's still sort of being juggled.
Yeah, oh, for sure. So what are the games you've been playing?
Well, I've done some Dota 2, which is always fun. I think that's the word I'm going to use. I don't know.
Trying, exhausting, defeating. Those are the words that come to my mind immediately.
Pressing. Whoa.
Uh,
Overwatch. I'm in the beta for that, so I've played some Overwatch. That's fun.
I was going to ask you, how is that? I still haven't had a chance to grab a beta key for that.
I'm not a first person shooter guy, but this seems like they're aiming that game at me. Like, I kind of like it more than the Counter-Strike pinpoint accuracy Twitch stuff. I don't know. It just relates to me better than military FPS.
Yeah, I mean, well, the concept being that it's like it's a first person MOBA basically, right?
Yeah,
is kind of the vibe that they're trying to foster.
Yeah, there's lots of unique heroes. I mean, they all have an ultimate, that kind of thing.
And then, is there like leveling up within each game, or do you start with that character with those abilities right off?
Well, the characters they're the characters. You start off with everything they have, and the only thing you quote unquote earn is the ultimate, which you can get over time by either just enough time passing or doing damage or something. I don't know. You up your charge and then you pop it, and then you up it. Yeah, that kind of thing. So there's no levels per se.
Okay, gotcha.
And you can change who you are all the time, like every life if you want.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's the most interesting thing about it. But people haven't really latched on to that yet. They're just like, I'm going to say this guy forever.
Do you think do you think that's a game that people would enjoy watching? In the same way that Dota or League or CS:GO kind of draws an audience.
I don't know. I'm not not qualified to say what I'm about to say.
It's
all
enough.
Opinion.
Hey, absolutely.
The top-down view esports. So I don't know, the Dota 2, StarCraft 2 kind of thing, where you're viewing it as if you were like in a stadium kind of thing. I just feel like that fits so well for viewing. It's perfect. It's like I said, it's just like watching football or soccer from that angle. You're up there, you see everything.
God, I've never.
I'm not sure
that concept just blew my mind. That is not a connection I've ever really made. That comparison. I mean, I guess you connected those dots for me there. That concept of feeling like you're sitting in a stadium. You're right. You're absolutely right.
So yeah, on the flip side, for me personally, watching FPS competitively is a little weird. I'm like, who are we looking at now? What's happening? I mean, obviously, I can follow it, but it's not. I don't know. It's not for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
jumping from camera to camera. I mean, obviously, there's some viewing way like cameras, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm not qualified, like I said.
No, I'm with you. When I get the same kind of feeling when I watch CS:GO. I've tried maybe a handful of times, and all the characters are the same. Like I'm not. I get that. Yes, some of them have different weapons, and there are various ways to identify the differing players. But for me, I don't make any connection with them. I don't feel connected to that character the same way that I do, say, when I'm watching a guy play Lich or play Witch Doctor or play Skywrath Mage in a game of Dota 2. But
yeah, that makes sense.
So no, yeah.
But at the same time, if I had to say, people would like to watch Overwatch, I bet they would. I mean,
you'd have that character variation, I suppose, at least. Although it seems like it would be, as far as tracking like an individual player's capability, it would be even harder.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Especially if you're able to change heroes based off of current situations and counters. But yeah, that game definitely sounds fascinating. So what else is on the docket? What else have you been playing?
I got roped into some Undertale. I know that was kind of the thing for a little bit, and I decided, whatever, I'll play it. And it turns out that, as far as comedy, that was great.
I have no idea what Undertale is.
You have zero idea at all?
Zero idea at all.
Do you have $10?
I do have $10.
Do you want to spend it on Undertale?
Maybe I do. Should I?
Go to Steam and type in Undertale.
I'm going to look at it right now while we're on the show.
It is. I don't know how to explain it. It's a very weird game made by like a person. And if, as far as comedy goes, and just fourth wall self-aware, kind of making fun of genre kind of thing. It's all there. It's. I thought it was very well done.
I mean, is it like
very fun.
Is it like a side scroller? Is that what it is?
It's a. I. It's an RPG, I guess, with some like Pokemon-like encounters. I don't know. It's not the best explanation. The combat is like you enter a fight.
Oh yeah, it does have a Pokemon vibe to it.
It's best to go in blind. I'll say that.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm surprised you haven't heard of Undertale.
Oh no, I'm
honestly surprised.
I'm the worst person to host a video game podcast. I have absolutely no idea what's going on.
That's why I'm going to host a video game podcast. No, I don't play that many games either. That's why I mentioned earlier. It's like, yeah, it's a good excuse to try something, and then it turns out that was a good idea. I like that.
Yeah, I see. I had a fan actually because Wazoo, another one of the .p hosts, told me I got to play Witcher 3. You got to play Witcher 3. It's right up your alley. You love Witcher 3. Got to play it. And I had a fan gift me a copy, and I can't remember the guy's name. I should pull it up. But which was super nice, and
yes,
and admittedly I told the guy he should not do this, and that it was a terrible mistake.
I'm bracing myself.
But
go ahead.
I've had it now for 2 months. I have installed it, but I've yet to hit the play button on it, and I feel terrible because I have all these games in my library. Like I have Elite Dangerous, and I love the hell out of Elite Dangerous. I don't know if you're familiar with that at all.
I'm not.
That's the cool. Do you like flight sims at all?
I have not played one. I generally know what they are.
So Elite Dangerous is it's like a flight simulator, but it's out in space. We've already mastered all this great technology, but it tries to stay as realistic as possible as far as physics are concerned while you're flying around the universe. But it's a damn good time. It's completely open. It's as open world as you can get. There are areas within the universe that just because of the amount of time it takes to travel from one location to another, no player has ever personally seen. It's never loaded onto anybody's PC, this particular environment. And I love the hell out of it, but I never play it. I wind up playing Dota 2 again. I wind up killing time on, killing 10 or 20 minutes on Hearthstone or 10 or 20 minutes on some roguelike.
Yeah.
It's hard to play every game out there, and I know I'm never going to play every game out there.
Yeah. If I had to finish my list of games on the channel, I'd probably have one more game. So it's like, the Dota, Overwatch, Undertale channel, and sometimes maybe a StarCraft or something. I don't know.
Well, and I saw that you
definitely lots of.
I saw that you had some StarCraft reporter videos up.
The StarCraft reporter, like the old one?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I saw that you'd had a StarCraft 2 gaming video, and I had. Oh, okay. Yeah, I had never seen the StarCraft reporters before. That I had no clue that those existed. I was that
they were first.
Wow, that's crazy. So, have you thought about making any more in that realm as well? Now that you're getting some opportunities to play a little more StarCraft.
Yeah, definitely. Like I could see it being something like, okay, I'm definitely in the mood to do a StarCraft 2 reporter and have the little lurker joke because that's been developed, however long. I'm sure I'll visit it sometime. But no, I'm not going to commit to anything.
Yeah, I know.
Until I feel good about it.
Completely.
The whole idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely understand. We commit to too much around here, I think, probably. That we'll never do. The other thing I was going to ask is, are you paying attention to Dota 2 at all? Or now that you've been playing it a little bit more, I know you were kind of light on the Dota 2 in the midst of the Dota 2 reporter just because of how time consuming it was. But now that you're playing more Dota 2, do you find yourself watching more Dota?
I still don't watch a ton, honestly. I play a lot more than I used to, for sure. Which probably in some Dota 2 players' terms is still not a lot. So I would say maybe a game every weekday, maybe some on the weekend as well. I mean, in the evening, because sometimes they just take an hour and then it's like, okay, I don't have time for another one.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't watched a lot still.
So are you seeing any of the chaos surrounding the Shanghai Major at all?
I I am generally aware of it. Only what my credited news source reddit.com/r/Dota2 gives me.
Yeah, sure.
Where I trust everything I read. Anyway.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's all fact.
I've seen some stuff.
I don't know. What are your general thoughts on Shanghai? It sounds like it sounds like a complete mess, right?
From what I can tell, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably not an original joke. I'm sure everybody already said that already.
But an apt one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you heard? You're in the realm of comedy. Of course, Too Good was fired. They say for several of the jokes that he made. Are you familiar with any of the jokes that he made that have kind of surrounded the rumors for why he was fired?
I something about a pre-hosting ritual.
Yeah.
That's the only one I remember. I don't know if there are any others. I don't know any other ones.
I don't know. Does it bother you that kind of humor exists in the gaming community?
Huh. That's tough. I don't know if I'll use the word. I don't know if I'll use the word bother. But it's not like it's really hard. I don't care for it, I guess. Is that? I don't know if that's
no. I don't want to certainly a valid
black
response.
and white sides.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's certainly a valid response.
Like if I had to say, am I a fan of his hosting? I would say no. I mean, but I'm not. I'm including probably not the TIs where he was just probably completely fine. I don't remember completely. They were a long time ago. But like that kind of thing, I don't know. Never really gets me going. But that's just me.
Yeah, I never feel too fired up about any. I'm not one to get offended by any kind of humor at all. In all reality, I mean, I recognize that there are varying types of comedy, and comedy hits for some people and it doesn't for others. And when you're doing comedy, you're looking for the people it hits with. That's your goal. Is
well, yeah. It's always time and place for everything, and I don't know if that was it.
Yeah, and I guess that kind of it feels for me like what the root of the issue surrounding all of that is do I want my hosts making those kinds of jokes? Do I or does anybody? Can you? It's tough to do comedy in one of those types of events because that's literally where everybody within the gaming community, and in this particular case, everybody within the Dota 2 subculture of the gaming community, it's where they all congregate to watch one particular event. And, you're going to have guys who are fans of, Brian Calland's animation over at Wronchi Animation. And you're going to have guys who are fans of Sir Action Slash.
There are?
Yeah, at least 230,000 of them, right? So, so there are going to be those guys. They're going to be Sir Action Slacks fans. They're going to be Too Good fans, and I don't know. It doesn't feel like the necessarily the place where you want to try to go edgy with your humor. You want to be as palatable as you can be to anybody who comes and checks it out. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of my thought on it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think I agree, and I guess time and place is still what I'll say again. It's all different situations. Hosting a major, a silly YouTube video. I don't know. It's a tough.
Well, but I mean, the YouTube video is something where, and your channel's a perfect example. When I go to whether I'm watching the StarCraft Reporter, or I'm watching you do a gaming video, or I'm watching the Dota 2 Reporter, or one of your more recent shorts. Like I get a sense for the brand of humor I'm going to get from Brian Calland. It's branded under your name or your pseudonym or your company's name.
Right.
You're owning the brand, and you're providing a neutral medium through which people can access it. I get to come and seek that out. But with the major, I don't know that it's going to be a lot different than you going and doing your shtick at the major.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It is kind of how I would view it. I don't know. Maybe there's a place for Too Good to have that kind of, or to exercise that brand of humor, but maybe it's under his own brand. Maybe it's not at this conglomerate event where we're drawing in fans from a variety of places.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that. I think that was well put.
But
I wanted to add something, but I don't remember what it was. Oh yeah. Like I said, my trusted news source, Dota 2 Reddit subreddit. I read. I actually know it. I think this was James's post or whatever, explaining basically like just writing out everything that he went through, more or less. And if we were to go by his word, make sure I said that before this.
Yeah.
It sounds like they just said, "Here, you get to go host. Good luck," and there's nothing else to it. Like I didn't, just from my point of view of reading what he wrote, that's what I got, and it was really confusing.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, his entire response, as somebody, well, first of all, as somebody who edits documents for a living in my day job, it was really painful to sift through.
I'm sorry, but it was true.
It was pretty bad.
There was periods in random spots. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, there were a lot of things in random spots that shouldn't have been there. So my whole take on it, or what I got most out of that, was that he was definitely at fault in some ways, and on the flip side, so too was Valve. No better evidence of Valve being somewhat responsible than just seeing the production nightmare that has surrounded it. I mean, absent the Too Good thing, that was all more or less day 2 drama, the Too Good stuff.
Yeah.
Here we are, almost a little over a week into the thing, or about a week into it, and I mean, it's been a disaster the entire time. It hasn't. There's no other way to phrase it. Like, I love Valve. I think they're a great company. I think they produce great video games. I thoroughly enjoy the inspiration they've given us to produce content. All of that. Call me a Valve fanboy, but I can't look at this and say that it was a grand success.
Good job.
Yeah, I'd be lying. I'd be flat out lying. I don't know. So I feel like, while he may have been to blame for some of it, it's hard to not buy that they didn't give him much direction going in, because they clearly didn't have much direction going in themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, and I agree. It's not a huzzah moment.
No, it
hooray!
It definitely is.
Dota 2 has never been this. Oh, never mind.
Well, yeah, it's been tough. I mean, and kind of like we talked just briefly, I think, before the show, but the sad fact of this major is that the biggest stories coming out of it have nothing to do with the games being played. When I log into Reddit, you get to dig a little bit to find threads where they're discussing the games. They're getting into this production nightmare. They're getting into the Too Good stuff.
I don't know if the major has anything to do with that. Whoa.
You might be
anyway.
You might be right. You might be right about old Reddit. Did I hit on everything? All the most recent uploads that you've had to the YouTube?
Everything.
All right.
It's all of it.
Well, why don't you talk about your Patreon and what's going on over there? Because like we said, Brian Calland needs your support, folks. If you want to see more awesome cartoons, you got to go visit his Patreon. So tell us a little bit about what you've got going over there, like what some of the prizes are and whatnot.
Yeah, so I sort of breathed new life into my Patreon, which I've actually had for a good while. Patreon.com/Wronchi Animation, WRONCHY Animation. Well, okay. Anyway, which you can donate any small amount or any amount you want per cartoon that I make. So it's just sort of like a pseudo subscription, if that makes any sense. For $1, you will get access to the feed where I'll just upload some screenshots or work in progress pictures of upcoming cartoons, that kind of thing.
Oh, that's cool.
There's a $5 threshold, which you can access a monthly vlog and question and answer, very casual thing, where I just kind of talk.
Kind of like an AMA sort of a thing, or?
It's like, hey, yeah. I mean, if you want to ask anything, you can. But also, I'll just try to provide some updates and that kind of thing, and as well as the original script for the episodes that have been uploaded recently. You can read those if you'd like, because they're not always the same as what comes out. Often they're never the same.
You just mean in like the delivery of a line, or kind of realizing on the spot, like,
or what happens completely. The script.
Sure, fair enough.
Oh, and there's a few more kind of weird big ones that I just kind of put there for fun. Like there's $15, which is a special thanks on the episode at the end. And there's a 50 where we'll have a Google Hangout once a month. I saw other Patreon people do that. I copied them.
Hey, that's a great idea. We're gonna copy it.
That's my life.
Oh yeah, that's a.
But yeah, there's been a good amount of support, and thank you so much to everybody who's supported so far. And sorry if I keep pushing it annoyingly, but YouTube sucks, so I'm going to.
You know what? I think and maybe this is naive of me to think, but I really believe that people understand that we exist in a day and age of content creation where you do have to ask. You have to say, hey, look, if you like what I'm doing, please come and support me. We need all the help we can get. And if we're going to be able to continue on, if we're going to try to produce more content for you. I mean, right? Like if you were getting 10 times as much money as you're getting through your Patreon right now, folks would see an increase in content. Yes.
Right. Well, I would probably not be the only person.
Yeah.
which in itself would be wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. So I mean, those little the every little bit helps, and trying to acquire that just a little bit at a time through fans. I think they understand, and I don't think people view you too harshly for it. And honestly, I think your way of handling it is probably better than anybody else's out there, because I think you have a good sense of humor about it. In the videos that you've created to pitch it, like, right. it makes you want to go and donate. So I don't know. I think you're doing it. I think you're doing the right thing. I think you got to do it.
Thanks. Yeah, I try to be open about it. It's like, I mean, there's a reason why I'm doing this. Here's that reason. That's it. Like, thank you. That's all.
Yeah, and I think people get that.
Yeah.
So one thing you said there reminded me of another question I wanted to ask you. So do you write the scripts, or like even if it's just a spec script different from what comes out? You obviously write the script first. Do you record the audio before you do the animation, or is it vice versa?
Yeah, the audio is after the script, and then the animation. I just basically record everything in one session, and go from there. And sometimes there's just some improv randomness that just happens while recording, and maybe it gets in, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. And some improv isn't always on the mic either. Sometimes it's just drawing something stupid in the background or whatever. Like,
yeah,
maximizing. If there was something funny that could have been there and I didn't put it there, what am I doing? That kind of thing.
Yeah, like, that improv kind of works both directions, both with the audio and with the visual stuff that you see in that case. Another one of those perks of animation. You don't necessarily always get that.
Speaking of animation and audio first, lip syncing is great. That's the best part.
Oh, I can imagine.
Okay, we have recorded the audio. Time to do the part where Nigel talks at the beginning. Changing your mouth to this mouth. Okay, good. Hooray.
Lip sync
animation.
Lip syncing is hard enough when you're doing actual video. We've recently learned. So yeah, I can't imagine with animation. That sounds painstaking. Well, if you guys want to find Brian Calland, if you want to follow him and see what's going on, you should follow him on Twitter. He's at This Is Wronchi, and that's WRONCHI. You can also find his YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Wronchi Animation. And that one's with an I as well, right?
Yes.
And what's the YouTube link for your gaming videos?
Good question. The URL, I don't know. Maybe, is there a real URL? Let's see. Let's find out together.
Let's do.
Okay. View channel. Oh, well, looks like there's some weird jumble of letters up there.
So go to Wronchi Animation first. And and then click the link to the other channel. That's how I found it.
Yeah, someday there'll be some sort of custom URL. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, you guys love how prepared I am. I know you do. All right. Well, Brian, thanks for coming on the show. It was nice to get to sit down and talk with you. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, this was what, the third time?
Yeah.
When's number 4?
Hey, number 4. We're gonna hit you up next week when we run out of guests.
All right. Am I the guests that you're running out of?
Yeah. After you, I have hopefully you scheduled.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, it's running kind of dry over here. Nobody likes.
Yeah, I do know. I know how that is.
No, truth be told, though, you're somebody who the moment we started asking, we're like, okay, it's time to go bother everybody we've already bothered to be guests on this show and have them come back again. And yours was the first name that popped to the top of the list.
We love you, Brian. We love you.
That's Roland. He just joined me. Just barely got home.
Whoa.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
It's not a one-on-one anymore.
No, it's not a one-on-one. You made it a 2-on-1.
Well, just later. How you doing, man?
We're trying to actually end it.
Yeah, we're trying to end the episode, damn it.
Oh. Well, hey, no, just switch me spots. We'll do another interview.
Oh, okay.
We'll do another interview.
You're good for another hour, right?
Sounds good.
But no, yeah, you're one of the first names that popped up, and we're thrilled to have you back, especially with just all the changes that have been going over on at Wronchi Animation. They've been fun to watch. The Broodmother video, I'll have to show Roland here. I don't think he's seen it yet.
Yes,
but
I have.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Of course he's seen
I thought of you the moment I saw that video. That's why I wanted to show you. Anyway, guys, if you want to find us, we're defenseofthepatients.com, at .p_show on Twitter. Search Defense of the Patients on iTunes, Stitcher, all your favorite podcast apps. And that's going to do it for our plugs. So, once again, thanks, Brian, for coming on the show. I hope things go well for you and you continue to make as many cartoons as you can.
Thank you very much.
And until next time, this is Cyphus for Brian Calland saying good luck and Godspeed.